Hi students! In this video, we're going to work on subject and object relative pronouns in adjective clauses and how to tell the difference. If you want to review the basic form and meaning of adjective clauses, check out my video on that topic. Now let's look at our examples of subject and object relative pronouns. Our first example sentence is, "He printed the email that I sent him." Now, the adjective clause in this sentence is that I sent him. This is an adjective clause that describes the noun email. Now, what's our relative pronoun in this sentence? The relative pronoun is that. Relative pronouns for adjective clauses can be the word that, which, who, or a variety of other WH words. In this case, we're using the relative pronoun that. He printed the email that I sent him. Now, the relative pronoun in the adjective clause can act like the subject of the clause or like the object of the clause. And telling the difference is going to become important later on. So how do we figure out if it's the subject or the object of the clause? Well, the first thing I like to do is find my verb in the clause. Sent. That's our verb. I sent him. And then now that we have our verb, what is the subject for that verb? I sent him. And what does that mean in this sentence? The meaning of that in this example is the email, right? I sent him the email. So this is actually the object of the sentence. You can imagine that what that word that is replacing, what it's taking the place of. And it's taking the place of the word email in this sentence. I sent him the email. So we know that it is the object relative pronoun because it's taking the place of the object of the sentence. Let's try another example. He needs a computer that works well. Our adjective clause here is that works well. The noun that it's describing is computer. And our relative pronoun, again, is that. So we'll do the same thing we did before. We're going to look at our adjective clause and try to find the verb that works well. The verb here is works. And what works well? The computer works well, the computer that he wants or that he needs. But we don't see computer in this clause, right? That's because the relative pronoun here is taking the place of the computer. So it's replacing the computer. The computer works well. So we can see that this relative pronoun is in the subject position of this sentence because it's replacing the word computer. You can imagine this like two sentences. He needs a computer. The computer works well. We're combining the sentences with an adjective clause, and the relative pronoun that is replacing the computer. Let's look at example number 3. They have a son who loves cheese. So our adjective clause in this sentence is who loves cheese. The noun that it's describing is son, and the relative pronoun is who in this case. Now, to find out if the relative pronoun is subject or object, let's find the verb first. The verb for our adjective clause is loves. And who loves? What's the subject for that verb? They have a son The son loves cheese. So here's our subject, because who here is taking the place of the son. They have a son. The son loves cheese. We combine them using an adjective clause, and this relative pronoun takes the place of the son, of the subject of the sentence. One more example here. My brother, who I love, lives in Wyoming. Our adjective clause here is not at the end of the sentence, but in the middle. We have our adjective clause, who I love, and it's describing my brother. And the relative pronoun is who. And we have to figure out if it's a subject or object relative pronoun. So first, let's look at our adjective clause and find the verb, love. And who loves? What's the subject for that verb? The subject is right here. It's I. So what is who? What is the meaning of who in this sentence? It's talking about my brother. My brother, who I love, lives in Wyoming. So this is going to be the object. And let's think about if we divide this into two sentences. The two sentences would be, my brother lives in Wyoming. I love him. Him, my brother. That's the object of the sentence. And our pronoun here is taking the place of that object. So when you're trying to decide if the relative pronoun is the subject or the object of the adjective clause, there are a couple of things you can do. You can first look for the verb and try to figure out what the subject of that verb is. If you can't find one, probably the relative pronoun is the subject. But maybe a more reliable way to find out is to think about the sentence as two separate sentences. The main clause as one sentence and the adjective clause as a separate sentence. And try to figure out what word that relative pronoun is replacing, because a pronoun always replaces a noun, and what role that noun has in the sentence. Is it the subject of the sentence or the object of the sentence? I hope this helped you to understand subject and object pronouns in adjective clauses a little bit better. Leave me a comment below if you have any other questions.